Rock and roll, live the dream, super excited. It's about 8 o'clock, ready to exercise maybe for a half hour, 40 minutes. I did my exercise last night, and this is what life is. As a young 73 man, I have no fear whatsoever of anything. Well, I have a lot of fears, but not of getting sick. Almost impossible. Almost impossible for me to have low back pain, aches and pains, uh, my vitality of life being robbed. Almost impossible. Unless I change the majority of my dietary lifestyle. Big believer in God's law, God's food, God's garden, God's body. There are no mistakes ever. That's really the hard part to understand, especially in today's society. From what I see in the news, there is a massive uprising of getting things under control, whatever that means, in conservative mode. I'm not sure what's going on, but what I do know is the massive uprising has to be to a greater extent. It has to be a greater extent of self-responsibility. What does that mean? It means I control my health. Period. How do I do that? Continually exercise. I do it in the morning, I do it in the evening, boom, boom, boom. And I'm in Party City at all times. Super excited, rock and roll. Let's take a look at it. I went to eat it with my family yesterday, boom, boom, boom. I had to get a restaurant, really hard to choose. So I chose potatoes. Potatoes is, in my opinion, was the safest thing to eat. So I watched the people in line. Almost 75, 80% of the people coming in for breakfast were overweight. Young, old, men, women, black, white, Chinese, whatever. Most of them were overweight. I said, what the heck is going on here? When I go to the supermarket, I look at the people's baskets. I'm getting my fruit, and everyone is going through the aisles, getting packaged food. This is my opinion. If you add more fruit into your lifestyle, a lot of your fears, your angers, you're overweight, feeling isolated, depressed, will simply disappear. Almost impossible to have a bad day. For me to have a bad day, it's almost impossible. In the morning, I focus on my bananas. They're not from this area, but it's still, they're grown under the creator's creation. Little seeds that become like fruit, and I eat it. There's no energy on digestion. When the average person goes out to eat, he eats the bread, in a cheap restaurant, he gets white bread. In a good restaurant, he gets, fancy bread. It's fancy bread. It's still processed. It still has the wheat. It still has all the nutrients robbed. It's still the void. And then he has to process this, and he has to cook this, and it's cooked with oil, boom, boom, boom. And all of a sudden, you're looking for a disaster of food with nutrient deprived, nutrient poor, vitamin deprived, destroyed, and you're eating it. You're eating it. You're eating all this food that's been heavily processed, overcooked, with oil, with butter, all these things the body does not recognize. Does not recognize it. You know what that means? It only recognizes life force food. Fruit, veggies, nuts, seeds. That's it. Sprouts, probably. That's it. Only recognize because it's alive and you're eating dead food. What do you think happens to that body? The stomach says, man, what am I going to do with this? I'm going to take hours and hours of process. Fruit's 30 minutes. Meat's 100 hours. Dead food, 100 hours, 30 minutes. Boom, boom, boom. My stomach goes to the probably small intestine. Boom, 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 boom. The stomach takes hours and hours of fruit to harden the gallbladder. And it has to go, oh my gosh. And it has to get, if it gets out there, you know, that's why we need colonoscopies because all that gook's in there. Fruit. Shh. Go to the bathroom. Shh. Shh. Not once a day, not once every 2 days, but 2, 3, 4. 4 times a day. Boom, 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 because your body's just getting rid of it and it has the energy to do so. But if it's struggling hours, and the body's, man, oh man, what am I going to do with it? I can't push it out. There's no energy. So it starts to add. For men, a lot of times it starts to add in the stomach. Oh my gosh. That means you go from 18 years old, go to a 28, 30 inch waist. When you're 35, 40, you're about 34, 36, 38, 40 inch waist. I'm still 30 inches. Boom, 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 rock and roll. You know, 73 years old, rock and roll. For women, it goes to your legs. All this is trying to push out, man. Your legs become like big. Goes to the butt area. Big. It's flabby. Goes, I mean, you're 20 years old, you're able to do it. But what happens when you're 35, 45, 55? It's going to catch up. Medication. You go to the doctors. Medication. He doesn't push fruit. There's no money in fruit. The science does not recommend fruit. The science does not recognize body's intelligence. The science doesn't recommend God's garden. They think it makes a mistake. The body makes a mistake. Doesn't recognize it. You see what I'm saying? Doesn't recognize it. Everything's based on love. So when you have an ache or pain, that's love. The body's been so overworked, trying to do its job. Has to send its forces to destroy that which is harming you. Has to isolate it. In particular areas of the body away from the heart. You know, so it goes to your fingers. Has to isolate it. And has to destroy it. And that's the way it works. Destroy it. Body constantly destroying that which will harm us. Constantly. Until one day it gets tired. I can't do it anymore. You know, it tries to push it out. You know, that's called in today's society a virus. It's called a coronavirus. Today it's called a coronavirus. Because the body is so inundated with all this toxic waste, it has to push it out. Coronavirus, in my opinion. God's garden, God's body, God's intelligence, God's law. There's never a mistake. So if you're tired of what's going on, or you live in fear, then continue eating the way you're eating. But if you're looking for change, to become like a young 73-year-old, boom, 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 rock and roll, begin by adding fruit into your diet. That's simple.